detective, thrill me.
Well, I spent 32 days cruising around the US looking for another podcast gig, basically, but alas, no takers.
No one had it.
So I'm back in the bosom of, quality podcasting that is Thrill Me. Conan the remake tonight. Now, you gents did the original Conan.
Yes.
I have not seen that in a long time. I must admit, I had to laugh a few times at some arty impersonations during that particular episode.
Mostly gibbos.
But you guys knocked out a couple of good ones. Sergio Rodriguez aside, they were some pretty good shit there.
Can direct.
But before we get into that, I had quite a list of things that I've seen. Mm-hmm. I'll quickly whip through them because there was quite a few. Obviously, I've been on a few flights, so I saw a bit of shit there. I watched 3 seasons of Ballers. The first season was okay. It's like Entourage, but for sport. But after that, it's just the same shit repeated.
Not gonna lie, that doesn't really sell it.
Yeah. No. But I just wonder where's The Rock find the time? Get rid of this shit, mate. This isn't. Yeah, you're making big movies.
Go make another Rampage.
Waste your time doing that. Don't fucking waste it with this. And I think it might go on for a 4th season.
Who's the Jeremy Piven of Ballers?
Rob Corddry.
Ooh.
He's actually gets a few laughs.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like meant to be funny, but at times I'm just sitting there going, I mean, they're only 25-minute episodes. They're pretty fast. So, but it is what it is. I saw the last 3 episodes of Stranger Things.
Oh, so you've done now?
Nice. I am done. It's real tough for me to how I feel about it in comparison to the first one. I think it's a step below.
Careful where you're treading here.
Oh.
It is a favourite.
The 7th episode is the worst they've ever done.
Yes.
It was just crap.
Weird.
I understand why they did it. It was to close a loop, but it was stupid and it was just silly. The 8th episode was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was the best one they'd done. It was kind of like Aliens. It felt like Aliens.
Yeah.
And I really loved it. I thought it was great. And I think the ending, even though it was a bit... Like, the actual ending of the last episode, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, when the kids were all together and
It's
all that.
action,
It's just fantastic.
ball-breaking action, and definitely it has the feel of the first season.
But it felt like I felt that relationship between the kids again.
Mm.
Yeah,
that's the best part.
Some of that had been missed.
Yeah.
And the hairdo.
Yeah, he's right.
Brilliant.
Magical.
that whole season of building a relationship with
ball, yeah.
Steve, and then he's like, he
Comes
comes up
in,
to the
he's cranking the hair. But I think I'm looking forward to see what they do in the 3rd season. It just, as I said before, it just felt a little bit similar. They're not as good, not quite as good, but still.
There's nothing
Streets
there
ahead
that
of a lot
makes
of
you
other
not want to
things.
come back, though. Like,
No,
obviously, as soon as the next season comes on board straight away.
I want to see that 7th episode, though. They're definitely setting some things up. There's some potential lines that they can bring back in.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just let's get this out of the way in this episode, get it done.
Just as a universe
that was kind of.
out
I
of
think that's exactly what the Duffer Brothers said. They said they had to set some things up. But yeah, I think the way that they kind of. They set it up, and then they were like, "Shit, we got to get her back into the thing." And everyone else was like, "Shit, let's get out of here," and just sort of ran off at the end of the episode. It's like, well, that was really weird, wasn't it?
And look, fair enough, but it was just, you're right, jarring as.
Yeah,
It was just
so there was
kind
no
of like,
lead
what
up
the hell
to
is
it, and
this?
then there was no other, like Jared said, they just ran away.
And I felt the missing piece for me was, I can't remember the girl's name, her and her new bloke go off on their own little side thing.
Yeah.
I just found that to be boring. Like, every time they came on screen together to do something, I was just like, ugh.
And supposedly there's some kind of chemistry there. I didn't get that.
Yeah, I didn't get it. And you're right, I think Steve, when he came back into it, because he kind of got the shaft for a while, but then when he came back in, he was awesome.
Yeah, that's right.
It brought him back in perfectly.
His little mission with one of the kids was the best. Well, one of the best parts about a couple.
There's still a lot to like.
Yeah. Poor old Sean Austin.
But he was great, but geez, he got nailed.
Well, the thing is with that, you knew he was going to go at some point, but they took so long getting rid of him, and then they got rid of him, and it was spectacular.
And I love that.
No, he went down in flames.
I watched the Dave Chappelle specials.
Yeah.
First one, piss funny. Second one,
awkward.
very average.
Yeah.
And, I barely got a laugh out of him. In fact,
it's not
it
really
felt
comedy a
like
lot
he
of the time.
wasn't trying to be. It was like spoken
It
word.
was like a venting session.
Yeah,
Sitting
he's just
up there on his little
pontificating.
stool in a small room full of people, like, right.
Yeah, and
He's soured a bit, hasn't he?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
has
he
yeah, but the first one was piss funny.
It's understandable
It
too.
just
Like you can see
shows.
where he's coming from.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
That's not what people are paying to see though. A lot of the time,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
But the first one just showed just how funny he is.
Oh.
You know,
He's an all-timer, man.
Jad and I went and saw him in Melbourne, and man, he could hold a crowd. Like, he knows
Yeah.
what he's doing. He's got the art form down.
He was great in that, but then he spent 10 minutes ripping into a town that had, bagged him for making a joke or something like that. So there was this bitterness that was never there in those other specials.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
He's still one of the great sort of storytellers and joke writers.
Yeah.
There.
I watched a couple of movies. I watched The Open House, which is a Netflix original. Quite creepy, but the ending. Jesus Christ.
I can't tell what this face means. Good or bad?
Not good. Not good.
That's upsetting.
It's one of those ones that just leaves you, it just sort of stops. And you're kind of like, what's going on? Yeah, what? You
you need
don't
some
really
kind
get any closure. You don't really know what was all about. And I find that hard to swallow with those sorts of films. Straight Outta Compton, I really liked that.
Yeah, not bad.
That was really, really well handled.
Yeah.
Um,
Don't watch All Eyes on Me.
No.
You won't be as impressed.
Straight Outta Compton, I just think was a good thing for someone like me who doesn't know as much about that period.
Yeah.
And to see a bit more about it was really good, and I thought it was pretty well done.
Yeah, definitely.
I saw Chips.
Oh. I've heard nothing good.
It's just a really low rent 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
And sort of bawdy humour, like misogynistic humour, is okay if it gets a laugh. It didn't. There's a lot of homophobic jokes and things like that that I just felt they fell flat.
Yeah.
They just weren't there.
Probably not the climate for that sort of stuff
Yeah,
anymore,
yeah,
I wouldn't
it's kind
imagine.
of- it's
Probably
kind of
hasn't
a
been
weird-
a good 10, 15.
Weird film the way
Is there something going on in Hollywood we should know about?
47 Metres Down. I really enjoyed. One of the better shark thrillers in a while. Although in saying that, I thought The Shallows was really good too.
Until the end.
So yeah, and this one's got similar kind of problems. There's problems in it, but it was pretty well done. And I watched that first season of the Netflix show Everything Sucks.
Yeah.
90s nostalgia
Yeah.
type. Not bad.
Yeah, I heard
not
it was
bad.
alright.
It's worth a look. It's a bit more dramatic. It's not sort of comedically inclined. It's more of a drama sort of show. But the 90s was my period.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was kind of cool to see a bit of that. And nostalgia's big at the moment. It's hot, Everyone's making nostalgia stuff.
Yeah.
I saw Riverdale.
Yep.
About 7 or 8 episodes of Riverdale. Not bad. It's alright. It's different.
This is Archie.
Yeah, it's kind of Archie, but in a weirdly different,
Like overly
dark sort of-
sexualized.
and dark and sort of violent.
Murder mystery.
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah,
there?
kind of. There's a murder
Yeah.
mystery involved. I'm not sure how much legs it'll have because it's sort of feeling a little bit repetitive. Even about 8 episodes in, you're sort of getting.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah, there's interesting stuff there, but it's kind of taking a while to get to answers and stuff, and I don't know whether that's going to hold.
Yeah.
And the last thing, I saw a documentary called Beware the Slender Man, which is about the 2 girls who thought the Slender Man was real and then proceeded to try and kill one of their friends because if they didn't kill the friend, then the Slender Man would kill their parents.
Oh my god.
And it really touches on how the internet can be used in a
That's
sense
insane.
to make
The fact
people
is,
believe
You've got to
something.
be so
that's not there.
stupid though. The internet can be used for a cursory Google to find out in
Oh, yeah.
2
Slender
seconds.
Man.
Slender Man's
Not real.
And then the fact that there's 2 of them that found each other that
Yeah.
are both as dumb.
Yeah, what are the odds?
Well, one of them was not all there.
Yeah.
The other one was a follower. So your problem lay with the one that thought this shit was real and wasn't all there,
And had no one.
and then dragged the other girl into it.
Probably charismatic though, by the sound of things. If she's a leading.
Cult leader, possibly.
Yeah.
Hell.
Future cult leader.
Well.
That was it for me.
Okay.
Expansive.
Yeah, well, it's to
lot
be
of
expected, mate.
TV.
A full month of sitting down.
Yeah.
10
Well,
hours
I'll
on
do
your
it.
ass as a captive audience in front of a tiny screen will sort of do that to you.
Yeah, don't worry, they got
It'll
him.
make you watch 3 seasons of ball.
Yeah, and obviously also with my dislike for flying, anytime there's a bit of turbulence, we're going down. I think we're going down, fuck. All right,
Shit.
round the room. Matty.
Okay. I watched, I guess, a couple that I missed the last time we were together and didn't talk about. A couple of your recommendations, Gibbo. The Raid.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
Which was
first one or second one?
The first one. First one. So that was balls to the wall action. That one. That was great. A lot of elbows and knees flying around. I really enjoyed it.
Breaking.
I'm not sure. Did I talk about ghoulies? Did we?
No. I only got about 10 minutes in again. I was glad we.
That was like
terrible.
That was Garbage Pail Kids with like the devil worshipper in it. Yeah. That sucked.
So for a bit of context, you were throwing this out as one to cover.
Well, I
got a quick text saying,
no.
I watched Ghoulies. We shouldn't do it.
Well, it's just one of those ones. You walk past it in the video shop when you're a kid, and there's a little green thing popping out of the toilet, and it's like, this looks amazing. I'd love to see this. And I mentioned it, Gibbo was like, oh, yeah, that'd be great. I then watched it and just wished I had that time of my life back.
Well, I'm glad I pulled the pin after 10 minutes. That's when I texted Jared. I'm like, I'm not doing this.
You're a wiser man than me.
I'm surprised you got 10 minutes in.
It was a slog, don't worry. The credits, I'm like, ugh.
There's a couple of things in it, though, that I got a good laugh. It had one of the chicks from Law and Order in it.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, but like an 18-year-old version of someone who like was come back in
the
she's
40s,
30 and started acting again. Yeah, well, I've seen her at least. Yeah, so I got a couple of good laughs from it, but it was pretty shithole. Yeah, I watched the other recommendation. If you watched The Witches.
The Witch.
Yeah, The Witch. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah. That was awesome. That was so good.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Yeah, absolutely. And just I think I've texted Jad about it as well. Like talking about the how bad can a family get? Like they're so cursed.
Yeah.
It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And just how they represented the witch as well was yeah.
But what Adam was saying about endings before, like the ending of that one, it's not really like you don't really know what's happening, but that's a good way to end it.
And then you're just like, all right, that's it.
Yep.
There we go.
That's wow.
I guess what else is she going to do, right?
Yeah, but that's one of my favourite horror movies ever. By far. It's
that's fair enough. Yeah. Did it have the guy? It was the father of the guy from The Office.
I don't know. I'd seen him somewhere, but I couldn't say.
It's from Game of Thrones.
I don't know.
I swear it was. I swear the guy with the moustache that's just like ripping into Brent the whole time. But
I'm pretty sure it's from Game of Thrones.
Oh, in the English Office.
Yeah, the English.
Yeah.
I think
the guy's always calling Brent a cat and all this dumb idiot when they go to the trivia night.
Chucking shoes over the wire. But
it might be him, man.
That was a little bit distracting, but the movie all in all just sucked me in, and it was great.
It's just so real. Like it's got its own atmosphere. Like the whole thing, the way with the language and everything.
Yeah, that's right. And you can just see like the kids are fantastic. The little boy's amazing. The mother is just psychotic.
Yeah,
with the way that she treats her daughter, and you can just see the motivations seem to make sense, and that whole threat of not having food and having to go into the wild. I really enjoyed that one.
It's what The Village should have been. Until The Village.
I haven't seen that, and I don't want to.
Don't ever do that to yourself. That was one of the biggest letdowns. I watched that trailer and I was like, "Geez, this is going to be amazing." And then I was so fucking irritated.
You must have been the only bloke who was thinking that. I think.
Did you not?
The trailer looked okay.
It looked like what the problem was ended up being.
Shyamalan was on the slide at that stage, I think.
Yeah,
he was actually staying
Signs was the one before that.
Yeah,
Signs
was okay.
I liked.
He slid with Village, and then he slid down into a massive hole with that stupid one about in the apartment complex. Lady in the water or whatever.
Yeah, that was nothing.
And he took a long time to get back. But I heard that Split is actually good.
I haven't seen it yet, but it's supposed to be
good. And I'm actually super keen for Glass.
Did anyone hear Shyamalan on JJ Redick's podcast by any chance?
No, not yet.
He was talking about how he tries to bring emotion into his movies, and that's how he perceives the game of basketball, through emotion. And he basically told JJ Redick that if he focused on his emotion, he'd be a better basketball player. So that's worth a listen.
Eb's got years of NBA experience.
I appreciate it.
Now, off.
Yeah.
Back to making movies, mate.
Yeah, JJ Redick hasn't got an ego. He wouldn't be upset by that at all.
No.
And then last one, I guess, was Fistful of Dollars. So old Clint Eastwood. Yeah.
Sergio Rodriguez.
Sergio Leone.
That one's just held together by pretty much the music and Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
But that one's probably a bit weaker than Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
There's a couple of them on. Is it Good, the Bad, and the Ugly's on Netflix as well, isn't it? And they're all on there.
Yeah.
I want to check them out, but they're lengthy, I believe.
This one wasn't too bad, but Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is long. Yeah. But great.
Good movies, who did the music for Fistful of Dollars? Is it Ennio Morricone as well?
Yeah, same one.
Yeah.
It's the same
Listen to
feeling.
his music, man, forever.
Yeah,
That,
that's
and
right.
Metallica S&M, that intro. Every time you hear it, I'm like,
Ecstasy of Gold. So
Yeah,
good.
that's it.
There's definitely a lot of horns going on, and it's so good. So that's my couple of weeks.
All right, so I'm still punching through Gotham, Black Lightning, keeping up with that.
Yeah,
I heard you.
Oh, by the way, the Black Lightning. So I got to that episode where what's his face ends up being the
James Remar. Yeah,
he's horrible.
he's horrible.
The best bit though is when he's like when he's talking about the drugs. He didn't follow the golden rule: never get high on your own supply. You can't say that line any straighter and sound like more of a dickhead.
Oh no, and he's when they're telling him, "Oh, we're just going to put some special effects in here, so you're going to pretend to be using like a hologram stuff." That he looks so awkward and so bad, but I think they dropped a little bit of that in the next episode. So I'm still enjoying it. I'm still liking it, and they're still still touching on relevant issues and things like that. Like season 5, that bit where the kid's high on the drug and the cops are firing at him, and Black Lightning comes down and tases him, and he's like, "Next time you do that first, don't shoot," and all that. Like, I like where it's going.
I feel that's a bit. I don't know how real it is. Like again, I guess the environment's pretty toxic at the moment.
Yeah.
But if I was a cop watching that, I would be pissed.
You would be, but I mean,
you're the one that's doing the
it's
right
a pretty
thing.
light touch, and it's a pretty sort of it's complex issues, but I like the fact that they're at least trying to do it, because I mean,
you got to start.
When was the last time you saw a real life issue on Arrow?
Yeah.
I watched Monkey as well. I've just about finished.
Get
Monkey.
back into that. I'm gonna see that.
Yeah, still quite enjoying it for what it is. I watched 47 Meters Down as well, as Adam did. I thought it was really good as well. Like it's middle of the road. Does have its issues. There is some padding and a few bits where the story maybe not be able to carry it, and you find that in these ones where people are isolated. But I like the fact that there was the two of them, and there was still some communication to other people, and
I'll tell you what,
things were a little bit telegraphed.
They kept, though, a number of interesting, legitimate issues that you probably would have found down there.
Yeah.
Lack of air, those type of things. Sometimes those movies don't have that. What they end up doing is trying to manufacture something to keep the suspense, and it doesn't work.
My only problem was the only thing I found that it was telegraphed. Everything's so contained that you're hanging on to everything that's said. So eventually you kind of know where it's going to go. So, but it was cool. I enjoyed it. And the last one I watched was, given that we've been into a bit of Stephen King lately, Dolores Claiborne popped up on Netflix. So I watched that again, and still really, really good movie. I find it funny that, he's got that many movies that if you ask for, top 5 Stephen King films, this one wouldn't even get mentioned. Like, so many people don't even know it exists.
Yeah.
But it's another gem of a performance from Kathy Bates. Annie Bates, was it?
Annie Bates.
Kathy Bates, yeah, she's outstanding. And the movie's just really good, again, just crafting some really good characters, interesting story. So, if you haven't seen that one, check it out.
Yeah, he's good.
And that's me.
All right. I just realised I've let myself down because I haven't been watching Black Lightning, but I have been watching Black Sails, and I saw Black Panther, so I could have had the
See, I saw Black Panther as well.
Yeah. What do you think of Black Panther?
Yeah, really good. I don't think it's as good as some people have said. It is important. Killmonger's one of the best villains, definitely.
Yeah.
He was fantastic.
I thought he was similar to the Spider-Man villain in the new one too, like because he was relatable, like you could see where he's coming from. He had his motivations were legit, like,
and even a bit of what was his name? Your mate Daniel Bruhl. What was it? Baron Zemo.
Yeah.
He had some pretty good stuff going on too when it all came out in the wash. But yeah, Michael B. Jordan he's awesome. Killmonger, that was probably the best part about it for me. Really, really good movie. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it, but some people have just 10 out of 10. It's not quite there. But it is excellent.
I didn't think it was as good as Thor 3. Like, I enjoyed Thor more.
Yeah.
And it obviously doesn't tackle the same sort of issues with, family and that sort of stuff, but it's just, as an enjoyment, like for entertainment, Thor was better. But like Dylan came with me and he walked out of it and was just blowing up how much he loved it. So the people it's aimed at, it's hitting. Like I would have said it's probably an 8.5 still. Like it's probably there.
Yeah, very good movie for sure.
I'll probably say Thor's like a 9, so it's right up there. I thought it was better than the new Spider-Man. I'd enjoy it more than that.
Yeah, probably.
But probably not by heaps. But again, Marvel just fucking kicking goals. As I said, I've been watching heaps of Black Sails. I kind of like it more now. I'm dragged right into it. But the story, there's a lot more nuance to like stories in behind and stuff, and the way all things are tied together. It's actually pretty interesting. And then the only other thing I watched Huntsman Winter's War with Riley and the kids, and it's pretty shit. Yeah, it's basically like kind of like a prequel-y sort of thing to the one that they did, you know, with... It's just...
I can't remember, what was it, Snow White and the Huntsman?
Snow White and the Huntsman, yeah, but it's just... It's unnecessary. There's nothing new. It's... The people in it are just slumming it. Like, Chris Hemsworth doing that, you've got... There's probably 4 really good actresses in it. I can never remember who's the lead actress in it. Not Charlize Theron or
Jessica Chastain.
Jessica Chastain. I can never remember her name. But what is she doing in this movie? She is a really good actress.
She's catching a paycheck.
That's right.
I know.
She needs a holiday house.
Speaking of her, she's in talks to play the older version of Beverly in It, the second part of It.
I thought you were going to say they were going to remake Carrie.
No, super casting choice. She looks the part, and she's an excellent actress. So if they could nail her, because she did a film with the director previously. Yeah. So I think there's a connection there. So hopefully they can get her in.
Yeah.
And then you can drag in some other high.
I don't think they'll struggle to get talent now because of how well the first one went. So, but like there's just weird things like her and Chris Hemsworth are both trying to do this like Irish accent, and then everyone else is just talking normally, and neither of them are Irish. It's just why. Like, no one thinks this is a cultural fucking touchstone of knowledge. Like, just speak.
No, that's it. Jared, we've spoken about this at length. This is method acting. Both
of them are basically...
Maybe I can do this type of accent. What do you think?
They're supposed to be basically this stolen generation of children that gets turned into warriors. They could have both come from totally different locations. No one else has the
accent. That's where, mate. Who gives a fuck? Exactly. No one understands Arnie, but we don't care.
Exactly. That's where you need a director. That's where you need a director who goes, nah. Let's not do that. That's fucking stupid.
It's not painfully damaging, but it's just one of those movies. Just like the whole way through, it, just going, this did not need to happen.
Yeah.
It's fine. Whatever. The kids liked it. Riley was like, yeah, that's fine. Special effects are fine. Fighting scenes are fine. I was just why.
Fair enough.
You must have been barrel the last few family members. Dinner time, get fucked.
I just can't watch movies like that and just be okay with it anymore. Like, fucking put the money somewhere that matters. It's just stupid.
When you start watching a lot of them too, I find you get more angry about bad movies because you're like, fuck, I could have watched a decent one with that time, and now I can't.
Yeah.
Goolie's at the bar.
Yeah.
And I
Pretty high bar.
I still haven't seen Hacksaw Ridge, and I'm getting sucked into watching Huntsman Winter's War. Like, what's wrong with me?
We've all done that though. We always walk past something and go, "Whoa!"
You do it more than anybody.
I've got to watch this really good film.
That sounds like when you used to go to the shops for a Coke and all they had was the Bart Simpson clear cola. And you get stuck with that shit. That's just like,
I better have
that. But the reason my thing was so light on, I've been pouring in. I think I'm up to about 80 hours on Assassin's Creed Origins.
Shit.
It's really good. Yeah. Because they were fine for a while, but they were very repetitive, and this one's just broken the mold a lot of stuff and just made it a lot more interesting. But yeah,
I'm waiting for that one more price drop. It's down to $60.
I needed 40.
When it gets down to 40,
mate, I'll be at 100% soon, and you can just have mine.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah,
I'll give you Agents of Mayhem.
No thanks.
No, it's not a fair trade.
Yeah, that's it for me though, because I've just been sucked into a vortex of assassinations.
All right. Well, here's the trailer for another film that I think is fair to say is why. 2011's Conan the Barbarian.
Behold, your new master.
After the barbarian village burned to the ground, all that remained was a boy who would become a legend.
The man who killed my father, I will follow you to hell. I do not want your kingdom.
Then what?
I want your head.
Conan the Barbarian. Rated R. In theaters August 19.
Conan the Barbarian, the remake, 2011. Directed by Marcus Nispel. who I believe specialises in remakes.
He's a one-man remake machine.
Prior to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and this. I think that's all he's ever done.
Oh, he's done a lot of film clips.
Oh, he also did another sword and sandal type of thing, I think, called Pathfinder.
Sounds good.
Get back to the remakes.
This was produced by 19 listed producers and executive producers, so I chose not to read them off.
Fair enough.
Jeez. You're like Lee Ellis reading the Twitter handles.
It's written by Thomas Dean Donnelly and Joshua Oppenheimer, who did one of the worst movies of the last 20 years, A Sound of Thunder, and the Matthew McConaughey action film Sahara.
Oh, Sahara was bad.
Also written by Sean
It's like
Wood,
troubled history.
who wrote Halloween Resurrection.
Oh, man.
So it's a who's who of talent.
So they basically said to anyone who wanted to write a movie, they said,
Send us some words.
we're not going to pay you anything, but if you're looking for another shot, we'll give it to you.
And we'll put your name on the credits. Fuck it.
Now,
All our money's gone to the effects team. So
stars Jason Momoa as Conan, Stephen Lang as Kayla Zim, Rachel Nichols as Tamara, Rod Perlman as Corin, and Rose McGowan as Marique. The budget was allegedly $90 million.
That's legit.
No.
can see it on the screen.
Can't be. Can't be.
You can see it on the screen, mate.
Box office was 48 worldwide.
Worldwide. Sweet Maria.
The boys are still trying to. They're hoping they're going to get Blu-ray and DVD sales for 50 million worth.
oh, you can see when they got the numbers back first weekend, one of the producers is there going, who the fuck paid Morgan Freeman $10 million?
The 19 producers are in a room going, look at the numbers going.
Guys, we're going to pay ourselves. Everyone's taking a price cut.
On the phone to Morgan Freeman. Hell no, I'm not giving back anybody.
That's
Got any props to put on eBay for us? We got some cash to make up here.
Let's sell the octopus mask. Wow.
A bit of trivia. Arnie was offered the role of Conan's father,
That'd be a
but
great
declined. Even he went, oh, jeez.
That would have blown the budget out to $100 million.
But the producers kept going, Morgan Freeman's attached. And he's going, nah, I don't believe it.
No, it's fucking not. It's that white guy that takes it.
Who wants to go first here? Your general thoughts, Jared.
Yeah, okay, well, it's average. You know, doesn't need to be said. It's fine. It's Jason Momoa was fine. Most of the actors I thought were fine for what they were doing. You watch it and a couple of the fight scenes and stuff, you're like, yeah, that's pretty cool. You get to the end of the movie and nothing in it is as memorable as the first one. You just forget the whole thing. In an effort to make it, grand, they kind of made it bland. it's I was probably going to go, when I was watching it, I was, getting up to 2.5, but I think I settled 2.
Right.
I reckon 2's fair.
Matty.
I got into it a little bit. It felt a little bit like a James Bond flick. What?
For me,
I don't know. Maybe it was just the
Are you getting names mixed up?
James Kong. No. I felt like it had the arcs in the storyline, and I don't know I'm getting shot down. Sorry.
We went to different movies.
There's a gratuitous water scene where there's a boat there, and I felt like at moments that there was.
There were some pretty sets.
There was, yeah.
Some lovely vistas, Adam.
Oh, mate. Vista was.
You had your pants off.
Not quite.
I guess some of the interaction between the main guy, between your Conan and the chicks, it just felt like.
Was it because he had no respect for women and just took them?
I mean, he bagged the bird in a haystack.
Yeah, he did.
Come on.
Yeah.
I don't see James Bond in the haystack, but I get where you saw
his attention for women was the same.
Yeah, he was a bit of a ladies' man as a filthy barbarian.
Maybe they didn't quite reach it, but that's how it felt like.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like they were going for. The suave Conan as opposed to
and I actually felt there was a
the
slight
poet reading barbarian that we saw in the
I actually felt it almost felt like they were trying to make him like a superhero. That was kind of the gist of it.
At the end, you definitely get that.
that was the vibe I kind of got.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they ever went with the sequel, which obviously was never going to get a go ahead, I think he probably could have.
On a reduced budget, maybe.
Yeah.
Straight to video.
So what did you?
So as a score, I was sort of around about 3.
3. So you kind of enjoyed
I
it.
didn't mind it. Yeah.
Gibbo.
Watched it like when it came out, 2011, and I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I was wrong. There is bits to like about it. I think Momoa, I think he is perfect for it. He's just a fucking rock-headed monster, and well, he is. He's just a big. He doesn't have to do anything. He just walks around being big and death-staring people, and with swords.
Pipe out with, but is he?
No, let's slide this time.
Like he's perfect for it. Ron Perlman was perfect for his role. I loved him in it. Stephen Lang as whatever he's supposed to be.
Yeah, that was the big problem. Stephen Lang is, what was his name?
Yeah, like Al Sim or something. Like, is he supposed to be like some Persian or Egyptian or something? I don't know what he's supposed to be, but he's not it.
I don't know what Langy was actually doing. To be honest, I don't know. I don't think he read the brief of what was going on.
What year was Avatar?
2009. Yeah.
So it was before this. So he was.
No, Avatar was the year.
So this was 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2009 it was. Yeah,
Yeah, because he was
married.
really good in Avatar as the villain.
Yeah, he was.
And
He was
then,
excellent.
Where's
He's
that
done
in
some
this?
great work.
Yeah.
Party Crasher.
Yeah, the Party Crasher.
Anyway,
He was
rubbish.
also good in Don't Breathe.
Yeah.
He couldn't breathe. I
He
know.
didn't want to breathe.
Yeah, don't inhale.
There's, you got to watch that, gentlemen, because there's one particular scene that Adam just can't get over.
I'm scarred for life, fine. I'm telling you now. Yeah, so continue, Gibbo, sorry.
There's some high highs and some low lows. There's a lot more of the lows. I won't get into the details till later, obviously, but I'd probably be with Cox. I'd probably go like a 2.
Right. I don't think there were high highs, if you want to put it that way. Oh, look, I don't...
It's Morgan Freeman, all right? That's what I'm talking about.
I don't particularly like sword and sorcery movies. So this was up against it from the start because I don't like those sort of films. And apart from Momoa, who I think brings the right physicality and everything, he doesn't have to be a great actor. It's not an actor's role. And there's a couple of decently choreographed fights.
Yeah.
But other than that, it is just nonsense, mate. Like, Morgan Freeman has one of the greatest, silkiest voices going around. As soon as he started narrating, I'm like, edge of a seat. The crap coming out of his mouth, I just went glassy-eyed, mate. It's just crap. Like,
And he only does 2 little reads, and then he's never heard from again.
I can't...
Very strange.
I guess I can't really gravitate towards that kind of... all that the stuff they talk about, the worlds and, you know, all these character names. I just lost all that.
Yeah.
And... the plot basically is fairly non-existent. So for me, it's 1.5.
He just Russell Crowe flying around the world.
I haven't seen the original
I was
in years.
close to that.
I haven't seen the original.
I was more leaning towards where Maddie was. Like, it's not great, but it was enjoyable enough. 2.5 for most of the way, but down the stretch, I just sort of got a little bit.
It's just a slog. Yeah.
Mind you, I just watched the 2002 version of Carrie. Sorry, accidentally. This was a hell of a lot better.
Yeah. You were looking at it through rose-coloured glasses because all the blood dripping.
Suite of Carrie.
So you've adjusted for
deflation.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen the original in years, right? And I listened to you guys do the podcast on it, and the gist I got, and having not seen it, obviously, was it's unintentionally hilarious.
Yes.
The original, partially because Arnie is just, you know, even in a role like that.
But
He's
also,
and all that crap.
but also contains good action and good effects and.
The problem with this one,
fun,
I find, is it's straight. It's played straight.
Dead serious, yeah.
And it's shit. Like, why would you bother? Why would you play a film like this straight? It's pulp. Like, the original novels were pulp fiction sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the original works better.
Yeah, it's a lot
because it
campier.
kind of gets camp. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
this one doesn't. And it just hurt. The last sword and sandal flick I actually liked is Gladiator.
Yeah. Well, that's an old
And that's
time.
not even.
And
I mean,
Gladiators-
that's more drama
Yeah,
too. Even. Like,
but
that's not
Gladiator is brilliant, 10 times better than this. But Gladiator, even Gladiator, when they're talking about, you know, some of the world, the fantasy stuff or whatever you want to call it, even that sort of gets kind of. I just sort of sit there going,
Fantasy stuff. It was just based in ancient Rome.
Yeah.
It's not
When
really.
they talk about all that bullshit, though, I just sort of go, let's get to the tigers trying to rip Russell.
So I didn't mind that setup. Like, it was sort of cool, but the fact that they've got this mask thing that they're searching after, it did get
Once it goes into the magic,
just
is where you
like,
struggle.
yeah.
Yeah, this was more sorcery. So this is where that sort of lost me. Is I just can't sort of buy into that very well.
But I mean, you're not going to get any less fleshed out sorcery than this.
Yeah, I know.
The sorcery was
There's no rules.
we
It
put
was
these
simple,
pieces
yeah, it was
together,
simple shit.
and my daughter's magic, so it's going to bring back my wife.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
that's the extent
it,
of the
yeah.
sorcery. There was nothing else other than a little bit of.
He doesn't get any powers. No, he's like, I'll be the most powerful being.
He just gets nothing in the end.
And then it's just a sword fight with limited vision because you shit masks on.
We better get to the good stuff first to get
Into the
out of the way.
lights. Into the lights.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
And then it's a steep descent.
Magic, though. The dulcet
Look at the
tones.
voice.
Oh.
What a guy.
I mean, yeah, look, $90 million budget, they obviously paid him well
45
to
probably.
do that. But, yeah, the guy brings gravitas.
Yeah.
Even spruiking shit like he was, it's engaging.
It was a
because of his
good,
voice.
it was a good move because immediately you're like, "That's Morgan Freeman," shit, and straight into it. But I must say, 30 seconds into his speech, you could tell even he was classy on himself.
I think he was reading it while going to sleep.
Definitely a step up on the previous era. He was boring. He was the most monotone dude ever.
The film looks good. Not $90 million worth good, but it looks pretty good.
Yeah,
like
it
the
does.
sets, the visual effects are nice, the vistas are nice, as you say, costumes, all that is well handled.
Yeah.
And you can see there's money.
What costumes?
Can we stop for a sec? The Ron Perlman. Did you guys pick up one of his fur coats that he's wearing? He looks like a snuffleupagus.
The last time you see him, I think it's towards the end. There seems to be some sort of flashback or something. Go back and watch it because he looks identical to Harry from Harry and the Hendersons.
I
He's
saw
got
that.
the big mutton chops and everything, and he's sort of staring at the sky. So he's got that sort of stupid look that Harry gets on his face.
Dude, I had the exact same thought. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's seriously, I reckon I'm going to do a pick match and chuck it up on Facebook so you can check it out. It's identical.
I was waiting for him to stick his head through a sunroof and start making a siren sound.
Oh man! Momoa is a big plus for me
Yeah, he fits.
because he fits that shit.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to say a lot. The acting is, it doesn't have to be great.
He's
but-
good enough. He's
Yeah, he
definitely
fits
good
the
enough
mold
for this.
nicely.
He can work an eyebrow.
Yeah,
He can work an eyebrow.
and he can
Sign off.
growl when he needs to, and do all
I
that sort of
also
stuff.
love the fact that he's a barbarian and he's got some of the best teeth in the business.
Yeah.
He's the only barbarian that managed to get down to the salon and get his hair sort of fluffed out before a battle scene.
His hair is always wet.
Yeah,
Always wet.
Yeah, just the right kind of tendrils.
I didn't even see. He didn't even get through. He didn't even cross the desert in one storm or anything. But it's always wet.
It's always wet.
It's not really wet, it's just
In
oil.
their fantasy world, there is no rain. But
It's just oily. It's just greasy.
Yeah, it's just grease.
Well, that was one of the first likes when he's born. That is a
On the
badass-
battlefield.
a badass way to be born.
Yeah, that
Your dad
was-
stabs your mum in the guts without even looking. Like, how does he not stab the baby? He just he's like looking her in the eyes and just stabs her in the guts and rips her radiator.
I'll put it this way: in theory, it sounds alright.
In practice?
I think in the script reading, they might have thought, "Gee, that's cool," and then when you see it on screen, you just. Admittedly, I openly said to the TV, "That's fucking stupid." Especially when he holds him up. There's people running around you want to cut your head off. You'll take the time to go, yeah, and hold your baby in there.
Yeah, all you need is a stray bloody mace and your baby's costly.
Pummels your baby into submission.
Yeah.
But what I gave it there was this is probably the birth story that someone made for him in post.
The
if you know
whole,
what I mean, like
the
part
whole
of his
born
story.
in war stuff, I did like that.
Yeah, that was a good idea.
Yeah.
And in
'Cause otherwise,
theory, what they
someone
were
could just come
trying
and
to
stab
say
him.
was cool.
But literally born in the midst of a battle. I like it. Your mum's been stabbed in the guts and goes, his name is Conan. Okay.
Just put a lot of thought into it.
We haven't finished reading the name book yet.
I was sitting there going, his name is shit, that hurts. Get that thing out of it.
Yeah, but also she was freaking out because her husband was fucking a Sasquatch. So she wasn't sure what was going on.
His name is Bigfoot.
If it was Harry, you would have lost it.
I would have been gone.
Look, there are a couple of good action scenes. The whole horse and cart sort of
Yeah, I
chase
like
where
that.
he's after Tamara is good.
With the cart
The
flip.
sand guys
Yeah.
is actually really good.
Yeah.
That's probably the best one of the lot.
For me,
Young Conan was good too.
Young
Oh, in the snow.
He did some damage. That
Yeah,
was awesome.
For me, the fight scenes are the best thing about it by far.
Just quietly though, what about is it Nathan Jones with the hammer? Big hammer?
Oh, yeah.
He is nailing bugs left and right and he's hitting them in their faces and just going
Yeah.
into blood.
Was Bob Sapp in it as well?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah.
Big.
He was the one. Was he the one with
Huge,
the
like,
face?
cannonball head dude.
Yeah.
That was one of my likes. Was that he is one of the biggest human beings that ever lived.
The only
He's
other
huge.
you see him in movies pop up as a henchman. He's in the Longest Yard remake with Adam
Yep.
Sandler.
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
awesome. At, you broke my nose. He's so good as like a big dopey henchman.
Yeah.
Though. He's perfect. For
His
this.
And that was
death was great.
Every
That
single one of
action
them
scene
sort
was
of.
awesome.
Every single one of them hit the mark. Like from the get go, when Stephen Lang and co attack the Sumerian village, the first thing you see, I think it is Bob Sapp, fucking tackles a horse and kills the rider of it. I'm like, that's awesome. And then they roll that flaming ball through.
That was cool.
That
The
stuff was
flaming
excellent.
balls comes flying.
I think the sand ones was the best.
Yeah,
It
because the
reminded me
visual
of, like,
effects were cool too when they got killed and they sort of fell apart.
That was actually pretty well done.
And
Yeah.
it brought a kind of martial arts element into it. The way they were leaping around, and he couldn't just fucking run up
Overpower
to
it.
something and go "Ugh," and punch it or whatever.
Yeah.
That was cool. The one that you were talking about with the in the castle with the water and stuff, that was pretty cool. So.
There was one
They were all
dislike
satisfying.
I had to some of them. I'll get to it, but
I liked the sword making homage at the start because you had the whole start credits of the original was making a sword.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have
Yeah.
remembered that as much as
I don't know.
but
I don't remember.
It was the whole opening sequence was his dad making this big blade, and then when he's showing him, do you do fire or ice? You do both, that sort of stuff. That whole thing was obviously a nod to the original.
Yeah.
And it was pretty well done because
I
it wasn't the same.
liked that they showed them together too, because you didn't really get that in the first one.
No, you just had to assume that he liked him because it was his dad.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Whereas
guess it's
this
his
one,
dad.
you
Fuck.
kind of saw him. Okay, so the mother wasn't, but she wasn't as good looking as the first one anyway, so I didn't mind that she wasn't there this time around. But the fact that they showed him and his dad, and that there was, 10 minutes of building a little bit of a relationship there, that was cool. I didn't mind that.
Well, that's what actually made sense. Because my next one was the dad's death, and it actually mattered because you had that established relationship.
Exactly.
But when Conan's trying to save him from the molten metal,
I agree with that, but I also felt, it was supposed to be emotional, and the molten metal was what a nasty way to go.
yeah,
Fucking nasty. But I just sort of, it was kind of like shrug the shoulders and let's move on.
But I
I didn't feel it resonated
It was a bit
that much.
cliched, like it was a bit expected that was
Like,
going to
I
happen.
do get they tried to build something,
Yeah.
but
it was
didn't
a
really
bit
work.
cliched, but I thought like the unnecessary cruelness and making him like the
Saving his
little
dad.
trap is kind of like, fuck, how did they rig that up that quickly? Or something like that? But then making him stand there face to face with his old man while his old man's saying it's okay, go. There's nothing you can do for me.
quick question: because his dad not just stepped to the side when the
that's what I was
molten metal
thinking.
comes down?
I was thinking they probably could have
Just a quick
sort of
goose
stuck
step.
it. Yeah. Maybe stick it, try and stretch out of it and get a burn on your foot or something. At worst, or, I thought
Reach the head back.
they might have been able to figure something out, but I
Bring
just like the fact
esophagus
that,
around the front.
I mean, didn't matter where he was in that room. He was going up. There was that much hair on the bloke. It's like
He's Michael Jackson.
He was a fire hazard, white man.
But yeah, I just thought the way that they did it, that he had to stand there and see it go down. Like the second that he moved, his dad was going to die in front of him.
And
Like,
I appreciate that. I just found it.
you're just a heartless.
No, because to me,
shell of a man.
the effort was there was some effort, but it didn't really resonate because Conan Then next, cut away, and Conan's a massive unit running around talking up the ladies.
Can I challenge you to find any other like that you could give credit to the writers for, though?
Correct. I'll have to accept that. That was the best fleshed out relationship in the film. But that's not saying much.
No,
as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you don't think it's really deep between Conan and the priestess? You can't see where their love blossoms?
Didn't really understand where the love blossomed at all in that.
All right, back to the likes.
Rose McGowan and her dad, that was a relationship.
Weird.
My last like was I absolutely pissed myself where Conan comes in and cuts that guy's nose off. And his first thought is, oh no! Pissed off.
I like that.
It's just he's 2 or 3 seconds after the blow.
My
And then
last
goes,
like was 15 minutes in.
No, because they were all general for me, the action and stuff. But other than that, I didn't see sequences that I really, where I can look at it and say I really like that scene.
Yeah,
I like the action portions. The whole film
with regards
was a
to the
bit like
writing,
that.
with regards to the writing, I liked one other one writing wise, and it's when old fucking no-nos, when Momoa feeds him the fucking key. And then tells all the slaves the key's in his stomach.
Oh yeah,
that was excellent.
That's cool because that's just like I'm not
They
going to
pull
kill
him
you.
apart.
Like he knew,
They would have got a town on the
as soon as he said, "I won't kill you," he could even put emphasis on the "I." Like he knew what was going to happen.
It's like
But
he's waiting at the screen the whole time.
but the way he did it, you were still like, "Oh shit!" We saw how you were going to do it, but you saw what you were going to do it, but the way that you did it,
it's just really poetic. Like,
it was excellent.
I just thought that bit was well written as well.
Actually,
it reminded me of from
finger in
Commando.
the face too.
That was wrong. Because the sounds it's making, he's just like sticking his finger into his fucking nose cavity.
that was real.
I don't know how it hasn't healed in like 30 years or whatever it's been in between.
He's walking around with
I did enjoy it.
stupid looking thing on it.
He looked like Mankind. I thought when they go to the Blues, go put Mr. Soccer on and go for the mandible claw or something stupid like that. I actually liked when they first free the slaves. Great to see that Conan's still totally mesmerised by a naked pair of boobs.
Yes, that's right.
He just looks at the chick and he's like, like he's just like grabbing at her and stuff.
In fairness, not just any set of boobs. That was like they were a solid 9.5.
You know what I love about that too? They release the slaves, then we cut to boozing it up with chicks sitting on their arms and stuff.
Yeah. So we released these poor slave ladies
and come
to
here.
prostitution.
But how good was that scene? It's like
Where will
your
we
best,
go now?
your best mate, his best mate to sit there. They start with arm wrestling or whatever. He swigs a pint of mead and then belts his best mate across the face.
No, he spits in his face and then like punches him.
I was sitting there going, I was looking at that going, I'm pretty sure I went on footy trips with blokes like Conan, have a beer and then try to punch him.
Isn't that Saturday night at the RSL?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why I stopped playing footy.
Yeah, the culture wasn't for us, Foxy. The lovers not fine.
I think I might have played footy with a couple of Conans as well.
I think we just refer to them as cockheads, though, usually.
Cockhead the Barbarian.
I think I might have acted like Conan.
Oh shit, Cox is going to have chocolate milk coming out his nose here. Straight in the
I'm pretty sure
mustache.
I acted like Conan a couple of times.
Acted like Conan, got treated like the other bloke.
Oh shit.
Who else has got likes?
What else we got? Because I was 15 minutes in and I'm clean out.
I'm going to get ripped here, I know I am, because we talked about it. But I actually thought Rose McGowan was the only one that seemed aware that this was fucking random and was just playing up. She was
diabolical.
No, she was hamming started. I think the biggest
she was though. I think she was trying to be serious, and she's just that shit.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe. I don't know, but I don't think she was acting.
Because I look at something like Planet Terror, and it was the same sort of thing. Like she had a similar vibe to this, and she's a woman with a gun for a leg. I mean, I think she knows. I think she's aware of this stuff. So I watched it thinking she's all right.
Do you think Langy and Co were clued up to that or not?
Langy was
look,
naughty,
you give Langy a job knowing what you're getting. You're going to give it a villain who's going to be scowling and yelling Sumerian and all this sort of shit. And I don't think he was as aware. I don't think he was as across the topic. I think Rose McGowan might have walked into a couple of blue rooms and said, "This is gonna be."
Did you not think Marcus Nispel sat down with Langy and said, "Look, this is what we're going for"?
This is your character's motivation.
The other thing too is
No, Langy went to him and said, "Look, what is my motivation? I have no time for this."
I've got a soft spot for Rose McGowan.
So do I, for different reasons.
Well, ever since Scream, I've been, I loved Scream.
She was very good in that.
movie. She was cool in that. I've also heard her talk at an hour-long Q&A.
She's an interesting chick.
Yeah, about 10 years ago, and she was awesome. She was a real good sport. Like, people were trying to trip her up with stupid questions like they do in these things when you get random things, and she was just like, bring it on. I can take whatever you got. Someone asked her about Sergio Rodriguez. Someone said to her, like, something like, who was a better director, and she's like, you do know I was engaged to one of them at one time. And the dude was like, shit, and then she goes, I think the other bloke was a better director. So I think she was, I just get the sense from seeing her and things like that she was aware.
Yeah, maybe she was. I'm
not saying it was a great
mark, hitting the mark, but
I'm not saying you watch that going, holy shit, she's a wonderful actor, but I was watching her, and she was one of the few things in it going, she's having some fun. She knows what it is. And
maybe she's clued on to the fact that it was pretty hammy sort of stuff that needed a little bit of that.
Yeah, it's the pulpy stuff. I think she might have been the only one that watched the original. This is the track we're heading on, people.
That's true. If everyone
Get
else
on
is
the
the same
train.
page, maybe she looks a lot better.
And the other thing, this was missing the old, crush the enemies, seek the lamentation of the women, that sort of shit. Where's that?
The closest quote
It doesn't sound as good though. With
It doesn't sound as thick off in
crush the enemies. All that sort of stuff. Like, it doesn't sound quite as good as Arnie's got.
The closest quote was, I live, I love, I slay, and I am content. And it
didn't have the same.
No resonance.
Not close.
At all.
He needed to meet the poets that Arnie was making.
That's right. You know, some poetry and cheeky cage to test your skills in. But back on Rose McGowan, so I had a few things with her. One, she was wearing platform shoes. Like, I found that weird.
Yeah.
Especially when you're traipsing up and down rock temples and shit. You know?
Yeah.
Or fucking sand dunes.
Yeah, that's not desert weather. Desert weather.
Get your sandals out, you dickhead.
Her hair just frustrated me. She looked like she was from Alien Nation.
It's because she
That's
had
exactly
a
what I
huge
thought.
bald wig. It
I
looked
thought
like
Alien Nation as well,
She had
and I was
that
thinking
stuff, the tattoos.
Yeah.
I saw that and I thought to myself, all you needed to do to dodge the sort of Alien Nation look was put eyebrows on her.
Yeah.
Because they seem to cover up the eyebrows too. I'm like, that's far too much skin with no hair on it.
She looked like my dad after he opened the pizza oven and a flame ball came out of it. Lost the brows in the front of the hair.
The perils of a pizza.
And
it was distracting. Her whole
I
head.
found that painful. And that whole scene where she was like licking the fingers, the pure blood. I was like, this kind of sucks, and it went way too long.
This kind of sucks.
That's kind of what I think. I think she knew that stuff was like. I think she knew that. Like, I know that's the same scene you're talking about, and I watched that, and I'm like, how could you play it straight?
Yeah.
How could you do anything with that?
She was
and I think
totally
she tried. She took you could tell she took a bit of Robert Englund kind of stuff with the gloves and.
Yeah. But she did play, like, she played the creepy daughter with that weird relationship with her dad. She played it really well.
Yeah.
She tries to suck his finger and stuff. It gets a bit cringy.
She wants to be his wife.
Yeah. Once again, mate, Langy wasn't clued on to all this. He's sucking fingers.
He's looking down at Rose McGowan going, what's going on here?
Langy's looking over at Marcus Nispel going,
Yeah,
it's a weird family.
So looking at him, Langy's going, wait, are we on? Oh, shit, sorry, we're still shooting.
Yeah, I laughed when she was like sleeping at the foot of his bed though.
Like a puppy.
Like a dog.
and that's great. to sort of segue into the dislikes, if there's no other
are we there?
likes. Are we there?
Matty keeps saying things he doesn't like, so...
Do you know what I liked? I liked when the bloke who looked like Baraka with the odd teeth, when they catapult him into the building. That was best.
Yeah, that was piss funny.
Yeah, I really enjoyed
crashing
that.
through the building in that bloody little cage. Or
I think with their 90 million, they could have done a bit better with their fake teeth.
Yeah.
They just look like they just gave him some lolly teeth.
Yeah.
And just said, mate, just do the best you can.
He couldn't speak.
It's like a mathy mouth guard. Ugh.
It's like this. Yeah, this is not a guy who's had 30 years to, adjust to that.
There was a horse punch in there, wasn't there? There was a
Nah, there's a horse tackle.
There was a horse tackle
horse punching. There's no camel punching either.
Conan didn't hurt any.
I feel like he was involved in hurting an animal. I feel
look,
like he
someone
punched a horse in there.
Wasn't it? Maybe the bloke with the
see
hammer
that.
hit a horse.
No, I don't think anyone hit a horse.
A horse went down and I smiled. That's a line for me.
Exactly. Horse tackling.
Matty
But I don't
Calacrinos,
think
the old
that-
horse hater from way back. As long as horses are getting hurt, I'm happy. Torture those horses, fuck them.
I also couldn't help with the whole sex scene with
It was like a rock sort of altar.
but I just sat there and I thought porn in the corn by the sword.
Yeah. I like the fact you got his sword there, you know, crashed into the ground right in front of where
I think I was entertaining myself a bit while I was watching. Not like that, not because of the
Come on, Matty. Matty just admitted to rubbing one out while watching Conan the Barbarian.
Oh, jeez.
Entertaining himself. Alright, any more likes?
anything else. So to get into the dislikes, part of the problem if you're prepared to, and I didn't think Rose McGowan was great, but I will take your point that I think she at least understood that this wasn't Shakespeare.
It wasn't a good movie.
It was sort of needed a bit of camp, and she perhaps brought some of that. But the problem that it brought was Langy and her were not on the same page.
He thought he was Shakespeare.
The villains suffer because they're not kind of on the same page. Langy's playing it straight down the line, and McGowan's off in the clouds.
Yeah, silly
and
buggers.
it doesn't work. More so, Lang's probably the problem.
Yeah.
Because he's spouting shit dialogue, which is what he's given, but he's playing a bit too straight for me.
I think
It doesn't really work.
I think you're right that he did what you pay him to do,
Yeah.
and she was. I don't know.
But again, you probably got to point the finger at
The director.
Nispel again,
Yeah.
because I don't feel that there's. I mean, the story, the script was probably rubbish.
Yeah.
And so what Nispel comes in and does, he does visual things, and the visual stuff's okay.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what he's good at. But because the script lets everyone down,
Those 19 writers really fucked us.
and Langy's out twisting in the wind, doing what he feels he's supposed to do, but nobody's saying, mate, it's pure ham. Start getting on the same page as Rose McGowan here, and we'll be fine. Because even Momoa, a couple of times, you kind of get a wink, wink, nudge, nudge, sort of.
He's smiling.
Yeah,
and kind of,
it's kind of like he's kind of in on the joke too a little bit.
I think that was, to me, that was one of the things where I think that's part of the reason I was like, he is Conan, but he's not. Like, because Arnie was just like, he was the Terminator again. He's chomping into bloody birds. He's doing all sorts of weird shit. But he was doing it all with that stony kind of look on his face. And Momoa's there. He's, as you said, there was a couple where it's almost wink, wink, nudge, nudge. It's like, I don't know about that. Like, he's supposed to have lost all that emotion when he was standing there holding the bucket. You know, he's supposed to be what Arnie was, just single-minded. This is where I'm heading.
Revenge,
oh, hang on, boobs. Oh no, back on track. Like, you know, that was
He's
all.
also too charismatic, really.
I felt like
He
it was
is, in a way.
I didn't feel at any point in the movie that he was at risk. Like he put himself in the dumbest situations, and he'd just smile his way through it.
Yeah.
That's similar to James Bond. Like he never felt like I'm bringing it back. But he just it never felt like he was at
He
risk.
was trying to slide that in there.
I was waiting for you guys to just go yes.
Yeah.
True. No, I agree. He
True
wasn't.
in a
He was
sense
never
of,
in danger.
there was a weird sort of feeling to him that, and as I said before, it felt kind of superhero like.
Yeah.
He's leaping around, as I said. He was parkour and karate medieval champ in the first Blue when he's a kid, and I'm thinking, what's this got to do with? He's this barbarian sword guy, and he's flying through the air and doing all this sort of stuff, doing fly kicks and all this, and I'm thinking, what's this? And I thought maybe it was just because he was young, but then they bring it back. When he's fighting the sand guys, he's kind of leaping around with them. It just felt like a bit like Hercules, the Dwayne
Johnson one,
one,
which is fucking terrible.
The similar thing is they took Hercules and they made him into another one of these wink, wink, nudge, nudge sort of.
And I think that's the other thing with Conan. You picture him being the biggest bloke in the movie, but there's guys that are bigger than him in this.
Dwarfing him. I mean, it's just tiny
and
compared
again, that's something that just I think it takes away from Conan being that man of fate, that super strong guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I think the worst part of the movie is when they put them in that sequence with the underwater tentacle thing.
That's so
and
bad.
they give him some fucking random comic relief guy who keeps running around and hiding in the little
With
cage
the eye
and
patch
stuff.
and
I'm like, what is this?
Well, he was, his whole thing was to get him in the castle.
It was just like...
It was almost like
it was not worth it.
Just the hole in the bottom of the mountain was even better because when they tried to explain how he got in this one, he got saddled with that dude.
Yeah.
And
that scene actually that was up and down because I understand what you're saying, but I actually thought the parts where it was like him and the Bob Sapp guy.
Yeah, that was okay. That was okay. But what I mean is you get this comic relief.
Yeah.
I didn't feel there was danger.
Yeah.
You got this tentacled monster. I did love it when it ripped the bloke in half, though. That was cool.
That was cool. No, put him down and then it bit his legs off and then lifted his body
back up. But
like a tea bag. Give him another dip, but it's not strong enough.
But that felt like comic relief.
Yeah, no, that guy didn't.
And it just and even Conan felt like he was. It felt like
see,
the
that
Three
was the comic-
Stooges,
what
you
you
know?
just- what
They
you
were
just
tripping
talked
over
about.
themselves.
What you just talked about could have been the comic relief.
Yeah.
Like
Teabag and you half a guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, I just felt that was pervaded throughout the film, but yet Langy and Co. Langy's going with straight down the line, and everyone else is winking and carrying on, and it just felt a little bit kind of weird. It didn't feel any of it really matched up very well. Maybe the 19 producers all had different cuts.
There's 19 sets of notes that you got to adhere to. One of them saying, too funny, make it play it straight, and the next one's going, not funny enough, give us some comic relief characters.
Maybe the producer that was responsible just for that one hire fired straight afterwards.
And I'm not knocking Stephen Lang because he's a good actor, but he got a different brief.
As I said,
Somebody gave the brief.
what you paid him to do.
Yeah. He thought Avatar, which he was supposed to play a really hard sort of core villain, and I don't feel I got the rest of the film didn't feel it sort of met that.
Yeah.
But yet it wasn't unintentionally amusing like the first one.
Yeah. Sticking to Langy, the design of him is nowhere near as memorable as the original in terms of like the design of the bad guys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some of them look cool, but it seems like they try to be too different with everyone, so you just fucking get lost in the shuffle.
Plus,
good to
he
see
didn't
they-
have a great big shiny black mullet.
Yeah, I was going to say, I missed the Rick James fringe. But it was good that they paid tribute by still giving him an equally ridiculous haircut with like essentially shaven head except for the big long ponytail at the back, which looks ridiculous. But
it's nice that at least they paid a little bit of tribute to those old guys.
They did, yeah.
Old Hammer Man.
And it like saying that it was the design of the bad guys is it pales because there's so many different ones and you kind of get lost in the shuffle. That's kind of the same with the whole movie. Like I said beforehand, I tried to go grand, and in doing that, made everything forgettable.
Yeah.
It's the fights. The first battle, for example, is massive. There's extras everywhere. There's a couple of cool things that happens, but at the end of it, it's nowhere near as effective as Conan standing, looking at
Holding his mum's hand.
Yeah.
Like it just never has that same impact.
Yeah.
Same deal with the sets and the design of everything.
Yeah.
Some of it looks really good, and there's a lot of effort and there's a lot of detail.
Yeah.
But they go for everything. There's one where they're on the fucking seven seas. They're in bloody sandy ruins. They're in. I think they're the opening battle at the Sumerians. They're in the snow-covered hilltops. They go everywhere. At one point they're in a fucking green forest for 2 minutes, aren't they?
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere, and it's like, where
Jump
are
around.
we here?
I feel that we've got $90 million to work with. This has to be epic. Needs to be grand scale. Instead of paring it down to what the essentials and getting a script that was tighter and better focused,
Well, in the whole
you could
thing,
cut away from all that bullshit.
we saw
and
all of that
tighten it
stuff,
up.
and at the end of it, again, I was just like, none of that's as memorable as Arnie's fight in those sand and stones things, and Thulsa Doom's big stairs. Like,
Yeah. The most jarring example of that, because I had a specific version of the same problem, is when they drop Conan off and he pretends like the old mate's forgotten the map or whatever, and she goes in and they have their little sex session in the grotto at the end of the point. So basically she's gone from the ship onto a rocky point to root him, and then in the morning
She's out in the forest.
she's walking back to the boat through a fucking forest.
it looks like a Disney.
You can look out the door of the cave and see the boat, but she's walking through a forest somewhere and gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
That was nonsensical. There's
Yeah.
just no explanation for that. And she's wearing some... Oh, no, it's fucking dumb. That pissed me off. That was a bit more specific. I had another specific one too, like when we had talking about the... Conan saving the slaves from the slave caravan at the start.
Yeah.
Their opening salvo, big idea to save all these slaves, is to roll these giant rocks into the slave caravan. It's like, we're going to save you guys, just dodge these fucking rocks.
That's what I was thinking too. It's like
Planning,
you
fellas,
dropped
planning.
out. There was about 10 of them. Well, they come steaming down the hill.
And
I'm
these
like, what
people
about
are
the
locked
slaves?
in these fucking cages on the back of carts. They can't dodge these rocks.
Oh shit! It's
I just
like
thought it was very strange strategy.
It was like a game of worms or something. When you lobbing grenades and stuff, and you get one off by like 10 seconds,
Yeah, you fuck
can
yourself.
tell. Yeah, one of the guys up the top of the hill go, "Oh fuck! I think I just took out about 20 slaves there." Yeah, it wasn't very
Look,
good.
I mentioned the action scenes being a high, and for the most part they are. But in a couple of them, Marcus reverts back to his music video roots and starts going handheld. And once he goes handheld, there's a couple of them, especially the one with the ponytail guys at the start when Conan's young. He starts going handheld, and it's super jarring. Like 1 minute it looks great, then suddenly we're in handheld mode. We're going like this, and then we're back to static, then we're back into handheld. And it's a pet hate of mine. Like, I can't stand that shit. I don't know who. Paul Greengrass. Greengrass is to blame for that shit.
He is rubbish
But
for it.
that you said it before, Jared. Directors thinking that to make something feel frenetic, it has to be shot in this, like with a GoPro or something like that, and that's total bullshit. Like, shoot it so I can see it.
He does the final one definitely. The final fight scene definitely. I think a couple of them before that also fall into this super quick cut bullshit that I
Everything's
hate.
going
Quick cuts is even worse than handheld for me.
And again, I studied some of this stuff at uni, and we got all the explanations about you make a shot faster to quicken the pace, quicken the pulse a little bit, and I'm like, but if I can't fucking see what's going on, I don't have a fucking pulse. I don't know what I'm supposed to be getting excited about if it's too quick. And watching something like The Raid is
Shows
the
you don't need it.
counterpoint because you can still have a quick shot of like 2 seconds, but in that 2 seconds I can see that dude's fighting that dude, and Iko Weiss just threw fucking 14 elbows in that 2 seconds. And that's exciting. That's still exciting. Like, there's still ways to do it.
But the thing about the Raid too, just sort of going off on a slight tangent, there are quick cuts in the Raid, but there are also longer cuts. But what's happening on screen is so fast that you got punches and kicks flying that the pulse is quickened anyway. Because it's going so quickly. You're both belting each other. You don't need quick cuts to make it exciting.
Yeah, I get that. That's a bit harder when two guys are lugging around heavy swords. It's got to take a couple of seconds to swing at each other.
Why, you think they're real swords?
Well, yeah, okay, good point. But then there was like there's some of those scenes you just kind of it's too much. It was like the Transformers movies. Like, couldn't tell who was who for a second. Like, I had to get a quick glimpse of the hair. Oh, that's Conan because he's got the luscious locks.
No, his weren't really luscious. No, a bit like that bloody thing that crawls out of the TV in the ring. His hair was all sort of dank and nasty. He definitely hadn't been down to the pond with a good solid conditioner, had he?
To throw it back to your wrestling thing, you had Mankind. You also might have had a bit of Kane in there then, maybe, because he had the same sort of hair as Kane did when he had the long hair.
He did, actually. Yeah. That greasy locks,
just
sitting
hanging
out
over
in front
his
of his face.
I also had a big issue with the main priestess. I can't remember what her name is because she's pretty forgettable, but the fact that she comes out of being this little devout princess, fucking priestess person, and then can just beat the shit out of trained soldiers and assassins.
Stabbing blokes left and right.
I hated her.
Yeah,
They Hollywooded her so badly.
Yeah.
She always was prepared with this stupid little dagger.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they made everything about her like she's smaller. They started off trying to make it like she's can challenge Conan, and then they took it all away and just completely made her like pathetic and
exactly.
I didn't like her at all.
They sort of like the very first time she gets attacked, someone reaches over her shoulder and she's got the patented bloody self-defense.
Yeah, she
grabs his arm and goes, "Hey!" And then, as you said, she gets a dagger from somewhere. Like, yeah, that was so stupid. But I had almost exactly the same thing written down. I was like, the first time her and Conan are together,
they have a tete-a-tete, just a bit sort of back and forth.
Yeah, she gives some sass and gives a bit of, he's saying we're staying here, and she goes, "No, I'm going." And I thought, this is cool. They're going to update it a little bit, give the woman some agency, and not just be like, "Oh, Conan," I don't jump in the sack and say, "I love you," 10 minutes later. Like, they give her some agency, but then straight away, he ties her up, puts a cloth in her mouth to stop her talking. And that's the start of a successful courtship for Conan.
Yeah, that's right.
All of a sudden
she likes him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was dumb.
He swept her off her feet.
Yeah.
And tied her to a rock.
It's like, you saved me and you got me out of trouble, but geez, you're a prick. I didn't like being tied up overnight.
Yeah, just because I had a differing opinion.
Conan was one step away from bashing her over the head with a club and dragging her back to the plane.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
I love the whole. I love that he was leaving, and then but then they like ruined it. They're like, "Oh, you do have a couple of hours. You can go have sex with him and then get back on the boat." It's dumb.
That's
and then
right.
you compare it to the original. The original love interest is way more progressive. She's like
She's
a
awesome,
warrior.
yeah.
She's not built like the same as most Hollywood girls are going to be. She had a bit of strength, the dancer's body or whatever. That too.
Yeah, she kicks some ass.
Yeah, jumping off the wall and stuff.
But she was his equal in a lot of ways. Like, they were actually on the same level.
Which is why they liked each other. Yeah.
This one didn't have that.
No. Mind you, he did like the creepy sorceress woman in the original as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah, so that's where he gets attacked in the cave.
Yeah, in her hut sort of thing, and then she turns into fire and runs away.
Not pleasant experience.
It's very strange.
I believe he actually did fall down the rocks there too.
Oh, right.
He falls down the rocks, doesn't he, and gets hurt?
He goes,
because they didn't have a stunt double, Artie had to do it himself.
That's right.
So he was all busted up by it.
Fair enough.
Anything else, people?
Yeah, I got one more.
Oh, here we go.
The ending on the bridge. Him holding her by the chain. Like, so contrived. It's like, how can we get him holding a chain and having someone's life in his hands again? But the only thing I could think is that wooden bridge just held Jason Momoa's weight while he's fucking parkouring across it. And she stops briefly and the fucking thing collapsed. Like, she just stops and looks for no reason. She stops and looks at him and then the bridge just goes. I'm like, that was just terrible. Really, really
Plus,
bad.
it's so clearly a cliffhanger rip-off.
Cliffhanger.
I don't want to die. You're not gonna die. Oh yeah, no, you're fucking.
Mate, I love that movie. We're doing it very soon.
Please, I'm all
John
in.
Lithgow.
Leon.
I haven't seen it.
John Lithgow.
Magic.
Shut your dick. Man, he hasn't seen Cliffhanger.
Haven't you?
I've seen like the first 20 minutes or something.
Speaking of John Lithgow, I love the man. But while we were overseas, we went to the movies and saw Pitch Perfect 3. He tries to do an Australian accent.
Oh,
good God!
I'm over it.
I don't know why he was hired. You could have gone anyone.
Well,
you could have hired Brian Brown.
I mean, currently at the bottom of the rankings, it's tied between Quentin Tarantino and the blokes from Pacific Rim. So
I think he might rank a little bit above those two, but it's not good.
Yeah.
And look, Lithgow's phoning it in like, you wouldn't believe, but you could have hired any
Is there
Australian.
any reason for him to be Australian?
Yeah, because he's Rebel Wilson's father or whatever.
So higher in Australia?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like you said, Brian Brown.
Yeah, exactly.
John Jarrett.
John Jarrett, yeah. Hugh Jackman, for Christ's sake.
Nah, come on.
Just hire Hugh Jackman.
No way Hugh Jackman pops out fucking her. Come on.
He doesn't need to pop
He does
out.
not have those genes in him.
But let's get... I've gone off on a tangent. Let's go. Love him. Cliffhanger, we're definitely going to do it.
Good. Maddie will finally get to experience the joy that is Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. Love it.
Then we can get a few more impersonations out of you. Which is like,
Fetch, won the dog. So good.
Is that everything, people?
I've written down, is this actually a quote from the movie, or have I just made this up? Where Sumerian steel is harder and sharper than any blade.
Yeah, that's
quite-
correct.
That's a bit sexual, right? there.
Bit too much innuendo for you, mate.
harder and sharper. So
yeah.
anyway, it was a testicle grabbing there, wasn't it?
Yeah, there is a testicle grab, which is an unfortunate situation.
Had some good things. Not up to a 3 yet, Jens?
Yeah, you won't get
I'm
me.
nearly there. 2.5.
You're not going to get me with 2.
No, 2. I'll stay with 2. I think if Conan's mum had been as good looking as she was in the first one, I'd probably got to a 3.
4.
Unfortunately, Conan's mum looked dreadful, and his dad was Ron Perlman, so there was no breathtaking individuals to be seen.
How did those two put together Momoa?
Well, she didn't have much of a tan, I'll give you the job.
Serious?
And his dad's pretty white.
But the genes of that pair put together Momoa.
Maybe it was his travel. He got a really good tan somewhere in the Mediterranean.
He must have. When he was galloping across deserts and
mate.
not getting chased up
All
the
I could think about
arsehole.
in my head when I sort of, we kept changing locations, I was just thinking, I've been everywhere. He's been absolutely everywhere.
And it's just like shot, him riding a horse across it. Oh God! Come on, fellas.
The only other thing we quickly touched on it, but just the whole we've got to get this mask so I can be this all powerful fucking being, and then he gets it and loses a sword fight.
Yeah. There's no real payoff to the mask.
When he beat Conan quite handily earlier in a sword fight with that admittedly cool double blade.
Very cool.
But then in this one, he gets his ass handed to him after he's just gained all these powers.
Yeah, I don't understand.
So what were the powers? Was
But
the
you
power
was already
just
a
that you were
wizard.
going to bring your wife back?
Yeah,
He was supposed to benefit
he had
from that in
put
some way.
the
I think
the
she
demon
had the
of his
powers.
wife or whatever into the
Rachel
the virgin.
Tamara.
Yeah.
I think the wife was the she
But
was
that's
the
not
powerful
helping him.
sorceress that she was getting. He was getting the powerful sorceress back from.
Yeah, but the
So
whole,
why
the
didn't
whole
they
story
get?
with the mask.
Why didn't she
to
come
be
back
back,
though?
imbue him with the
Conan.
powers?
I don't know why. I don't know why someone hasn't knocked him off in the meantime. They had 20 years.
Well,
got some big guns. Come on.
quite honestly, if they both ended up on the wheel, they were both dead anyway. They managed to survive that, so you shouldn't question it too much.
The question could have come up in the first place too, because the first guy that had it before the mask was shattered and all the shards were sent to all corners of the fucking world. Yeah. If it's so all powerful, someone just donked him on the head with a fucking staff and busted his mask and he's over. Like, it can't be that good of a mask.
Didn't it feel like the mask?
Yes.
Because it grabs onto your face. And
Yeah.
That's what
it's like your dog didn't get hold of it.
I was waiting for his eyes to pop out of his head.
Yeah.
You should have attached to his head and given him a better haircut.
I think the fact we have so little to say about the main villain in it means it's just that's not what the movie was about. The movie was about the journey of
Well, what I found
the fucking around in between and
what I found though, looking back at
his
my
pair of
notes,
boobs. That's what it was about.
looking back at my notes is I just couldn't find sequences that I liked. Like to me, there was pieces of the film that I felt like the locations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Momoa as an act, as a performance, the fight scenes, but I barely can find anything where I'm like, that was a really good sequence.
Well, all the best
That's a
moments
really
in the
good
fight
piece.
scenes, none of them come from Conan and Kyler's, what's his name? Kyler Zim.
Yeah.
Except for when he busts out the double sword.
Yeah.
Everything else I'm thinking, the dude running over the horse. Yeah, those guys that attacked Conan when he was a kid and he handed them their ass, the sand guys, all of that. That was the memorable stuff. And Kyler Zim, it's just like you expect Stephen Lang to spout his lines and then normal sword fight that's not very exciting. And
then
as you said, he doesn't seem like he's gonna
He's not a threat at all to Conan.
Even when he beats him after the sand one, then he's got Conan dead to rights. For some reason, doesn't fucking kill him, and then Conan goes ha ha and just runs away, and then you just
it would have been much better if it was a ha ha and then runs away like it was in the first one.
That was dumb. The whole I had him. That pissed me off too. That was kind of annoying. Anyway,
anything else?
I like my
people?
stupid thought at the end.
Anything else?
I think I'm exhausted.
No, I'm exhausted. All right, so that was Conan, the remake, 2011. If you want to get in touch with us, send us an email at thrillme@ionet.net.au. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia or at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. Next episode, we covered the original. The boys covered the original a couple of weeks ago. Carrie, we're going to do the remake from 2013.
Not the TV pilot.
That was from 2002, and it should be avoided at all times.
Oh my god,
Poor Maddie.
Painful. That was painful.
But until next time, take it easy, and we'll catch everyone later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.